to get my back blown out in peace. You think I got time to talk about a divorce that's a year old?
Stop scrolling for a second. In the relentless, churning vortex of social media, where content is consumed and forgotten in an instant, Teyana Taylor just did the unthinkable. She made us pause. With a single, devastating sentence, "He was never really mine," she detonated a bomb that sent shockwaves across the internet, silencing the usual digital chatter and replacing it with a unified, gasping question: what does this mean? Instantly, the ecosystem of fandom, celebrity blogs, and gossip pages erupted into a frenzy of forensic speculation. This was not just another vague post. It was a key thrown into the ocean, and everyone was desperate to find the lock it fit. Was this a direct indictment of Iman Shumpert, her longtime partner and the father of her children? Was it a painful realization about Pierre, the man entangled in the complex drama following her split? Or was it a more profound, philosophical lament about a love that never truly was, regardless of the name attached to it? Whatever the specific target, the words themselves cut with the precision of a scalpel. They were not casual. They felt like an open wound, a raw confession, and what many are interpreting as a final, sorrowful straw. To comprehend the immense weight of this one simple line, one must journey back to the beginning. The public narrative of Teyana Taylor and Iman Shumpert was, for years, a masterclass in modern romance. They were the epitome of #couple goals, a dazzling tapestry woven with red carpet appearances, intimate music video cameos, and carefully curated family moments plastered across social media. To the outside world, their union was a fortress of love, ambition, and style. It was a picture of perfection, framed in gold, but behind the glamorous facade, whispers of instability began to surface. Cracks in the foundation, once invisible, started to show for those who knew how to look. There were muted rumors about Iman's loyalty, unverified tales of infidelity, and paparazzi shots where Teyana's smile, though brilliant, seemed to not quite reach her eyes, betraying an exhaustion that comes from holding a crumbling world together single-handedly. She was the picture of grace under pressure, but her most ardent fans could sense an unspoken narrative unfolding just beneath the surface, a story of quiet desperation and lonely battles fought behind closed doors. Then, Pierre entered the picture, and the plot thickened exponentially. He was younger, enigmatic, and his presence in Teyana's orbit provided a tantalizing new variable for the public to dissect. Almost immediately, the digital rumor mill began linking them romantically. Headlines shifted subtly at first, then with increasing boldness, crafting a new narrative. Was Aaron the catalyst for the final breakdown of Teyana and Iman's marriage? Was he the comforting presence filling the emotional void Iman had left behind? In the absence of concrete facts, speculation flourished, and through it all, Teyana maintained a stoic, almost impenetrable silence. Until now, this single, cryptic line is being read as her first, tentative step into the light of truth-telling. The timing of the post adds another layer of shocking resonance. It arrived just days after a fresh wave of rumors began to circulate, suggesting that Iman felt threatened by Aaron's growing closeness to his children. Stories of intensified arguments between the former couple surfaced, with Aaron's name perpetually at the center of the storm. Therefore, Teyana's post, "He was never really mine," felt anything but random. It felt deliberate, a targeted missile aimed directly at the heart of a profound betrayal, or perhaps at the ghost of a promise never truly fulfilled. The digital arena immediately fractured into warring camps of interpretation. One faction is convinced the message is for Iman. They point to the history, to the curated perfection that masked a deeper loneliness. They argue that Teyana's words reveal a chilling epiphany, that despite the marriage certificate, the children, and the public displays of affection, she never truly possessed all of him. His body may have been present, but his heart, his soul, his unwavering commitment, perhaps those belonged elsewhere. The entire relationship in this reading was a beautiful, painful mirage. Conversely, another camp is equally certain the post was aimed at Aaron. This theory posits that what began as a source of solace and potential new beginnings revealed itself to be just as transient. Perhaps she opened her heart to him, only to discover that his affections were fleeting, or that the comfort he provided was not the foundation for a lasting future. The idea that she tentatively offered him a piece of her fractured heart, only to realize she never truly held his in return, gives this interpretation its own unique, piercing sting. The online reaction has been a spectacle in itself. Screenshots of the quote achieved viral status within minutes. TikTok users became amateur psychoanalysts, splicing her audio over montages of her and Iman looking distant at public events. Others created side-by-side comparisons of Aaron, analyzing his body language for clues of disinterest. The internet, in its element, was playing detective, and the case of Teyana's broken heart was the most captivating mystery of the day. Yet, perhaps this ambiguity is precisely the point. Maybe Teyana's pain is not a singular event tied to one man, but a cumulative pattern, years of pouring love into vessels that could not or would not hold it. When you deconstruct the quote on a philosophical level, it transcends specific individuals. "He was never really mine" sounds less like a moment of heartbreak and more like a moment of awakening. It is the kind of sentence one writes when the pretense finally becomes too heavy to bear. When you admit to yourself that the love story you were desperately clinging to was, from its inception, an illusion. It is possible she is not writing about a man, but about the very concept of love, a force that, for her, has proven perpetually elusive. The raw intensity of this moment stems from its stark contrast to her past communications. Teyana has been cryptic before, employing vague captions, liking suggestive tweets, and retreating into silence during periods of intense scrutiny. But this felt fundamentally different. This was not shade. It was not a subliminal jab. This was pain, unvarnished and visceral, bleeding out in real time. Her followers could feel the difference. This was authenticity, not strategy. This leads to the most compelling question: what comes next? Some speculate that this post is not an end, but a beginning, the first tremors of a seismic revelation. Perhaps Teyana is preparing to finally tell her side of the story, to pull back the curtain on everything: the marriage, the breakup, the betrayals, and the public lies. She has always been a master storyteller, whether through music, visuals, or her carefully managed social media presence. She understands the power of narrative control. What if this was her way of testing the waters, of gauging the public's reaction before unleashing a full, unedited account of her truth? If one sentence can hold the entire internet captive, imagine the impact of a complete, unvarnished testimony. The emotional gravity of her statement cannot be overstated. You can almost hear the exhaustion in those 5 words, the sound of a woman who, after years of fighting, defending, forgiving, and performing, has finally surrendered to a painful truth. The realization that she was loving someone who was never truly hers is a loss that cuts deeper than any tabloid headline. It is a loneliness that questions the very fabric of one's reality. The fallout from this digital event promises to be massive. If directed at Iman, it dismantles the public memory of their marriage, recasting it as a beautiful lie. If aimed at Aaron, it nullifies the narrative of him as her heroic savior. Either way, it leaves one haunting question lingering in the air: who, if anyone, has ever truly held Teyana Taylor's heart? As the cryptic post continues to circulate, one thing is crystal clear: Teyana Taylor is done with silence. For too long, she has chosen grace over gossip and dignity over drama. But this post is different. It is raw, powerful, and resonant. It is a quiet roar that hints at a profound shift occurring beneath the surface, a shift involving pain, betrayal, and the first, tentative steps toward liberation. Whether this message was for Iman, Aaron, or for love itself, Teyana is no longer afraid to speak her truth, not in riddles or whispers, but in a voice that demands to be heard. And if history has taught us anything, it is this: when a woman of Teyana's poise and privacy finally decides to open up, the world had best be ready. Because what she has to say will not merely shift the narrative, it will shatter it entirely, rewriting every assumption ever made about her life, her loves, and her pain. The image the public painted of her is about to be irrevocably altered. The question is no longer if more is coming, but when. Will Iman feel compelled to respond? Will Aaron break his silence? Or will Teyana herself drop the bombshell that changes the game forever? There is a palpable tension hanging in the digital air, the eerie calm before the storm. Everyone watching can feel it. She may say more, or she may let this one, perfect, heartbreaking sentence hang in the silence, doing its work. But even if this is all she offers, the message has been received. It is haunting. It is echoing. It is a warning, a shift, a beginning. And when the full truth finally emerges, it may just be more shocking, more heartbreaking, and ultimately more liberating than anyone is prepared for.